Hello everyone, I am your host Bobby L, and I am finally back with another video for you guys to enjoy. I am sorry for the lack in content on my channel. This is because I've been very busy with studying and academics, which are very important to me, so I haven't had much time working on this project. But now that I'm on spring break, I decided that it was time to come back. Today's video is somewhat of a remake of an older video, where I discussed the zones of habitability for the world of Lineaos. I specifically discussed the continents, but for this video I'm going to do a brief recap of that, with new illustrations to help you guys visualize the zones more. And we are also going to discuss the zones of habitability for the world itself, and not just the continents. So without further ado, let's get started, shall we? So on screen is a very familiar map that I've introduced a couple months back. The map of the two continents of Lineaos and its countries and islands. We have the continent of Mu and the continent of Nu. And between both continents is the vast inland sea known as the Dinarian Seaway. And scattered throughout the Dinarian Seaway is a series of 10 islands. These islands are known as the Dinarian Archipelago. The continent of Nu is made up of 5 countries: Epsilonia, Anatolia, Equatium, Rodinia, and Eremos. And it also has 2 outer rings. The first one is Nominalheim, and the second one is Kelvania. The continent of Mu is made up of the countries of Abacus, Azimuth, Prismidia, Iota, and Ignis, and its outer rings include Arcticos and Celsium. So this is the original map piece that I used for the old video to discuss the habitable zones. You are probably familiar with that if you saw the video. But this is what I used, and I looked back at it and I'm like, this probably was not a good visual. So I'm going to show you a more updated visual. So this is the more updated visual that I recently drew to show the habitable zones of the continents. So the continents are divided up into 3 sections based on where life can and cannot exist. The outer rings of Nominalheim and Arcticos are known as the uninhabitable zones. These regions are too cold for life to exist. Here you will find snowy fields, icy wastes, and glaciers. The inner rings of Kelvania and Celsium are known as the semi-habitable zones. These regions are cold but not too cold, so life can live there. But life is specially adapted to these polar regions. Here you'll find taiga, glaciers, and snowy fields and forests. It is also not too cold enough for water to freeze, so you'll find liquid water here. However, you'll also find here and there a frozen lake. The next sections are known as the habitable zones. These regions are ideal for life to exist. The climate is just right for all forms of plants and animals to exist there. It is also right for civilization to thrive here as well. Here you'll find biomes and ecosystems such as jungles, forests, deserts, rocky plains, etc. Anything you can imagine. However, in the semi-habitable zones, civilization has been attempted by the species that live in this world, but you'll mainly find ruins of ancient cities and structures. As for the archipelago and the Dinarian Seaway, this is also known as the habitable zone too, with the waters being temperate and warm enough to support life of all kinds. But those are the zones of habitability for the continents of Nu and Mu. Now we are moving on to the world map as a whole. This is a bird's eye view map that you guys are probably familiar with of what the world actually looks like. So we have the continents of Nu and Mu, the Denarian Seaway, the rings of Nominalheim, Kelvania, Arcticos, and Celsium, and there's also a vast world ocean, known as the Constellastic Ocean. At the very boundaries of the world itself is the realm of Gavatha, which mark the edge of the very world itself. And it is made up of two mountain ranges, the Tolosian Mountains or Montes, or the Phoenician Mountains or Montes, and these ranges are divided by boundaries. We have the western Gavathian boundary and the eastern Gavathian boundary. So now let's look at the realms of habitability from a more global perspective. So this is a map showing the regions of habitability on a global scale. So of course we have the continents, we have the habitable zones for the continents, the inland sea, the semi-habitable zones for Kelvania and Celsium, and the uninhabitable zones for Nominalheim and Arcticos. But we also have the zones for the ocean and the mountains. The vast world ocean, the Constellastic Ocean, is known as the habitable zone. The climate here is right for life of all kinds to exist. However, life can exist around the uninhabitable zone in the ocean. Where the ocean meets Nominalheim and Arcticos, life can exist, even though the waters there are cold and full of ice and ice sheets and icebergs. Life cannot exist on land, however, but if it's in the water, it can be perfectly fine. The same goes with this region of the Denarian Seaway and this region of the Denarian Seaway. So, on land, no, but if life is around the water of the Constellastic, it is safe. But the further you go out into the Constellastic, the warmer the waters get. Now as for the very boundary of the world itself, the mountain ranges are known as the semi-habitable zone. However, there is a key difference. Unlike the rings of Kelvania and Celsium, which are taiga and glaciers, here it is mostly just rocks, mountains, chasms, and canyons. There's not much forest here or grassland here. It's mostly just rocky terrain of mountains and cliffs. So, life that exists here is probably especially adapted to the rocky terrain. Most living things that probably live here are creatures that probably can fly, that fly from the mainland, from the continents, or creatures that go on the shores that live within the vast world sea. But that is why this region here of Gavatha is known as the semi-habitable zone. But yes, that is all I have to share with you guys today. This is of course a new drawing, just like this map here. I decided to do this video because I wanted to give a more clear picture of the zones of habitability of the continents. Because I thought that this picture, even though I used it in an older video, did not do justice. Because I just named the zones and I didn't really label them. So I thought it was more practical to have a map that looked like this rather than this. I hope this video gave a more in-depth and more visual presentation of the zones of habitability. I hope you all enjoyed this video and learned something new. If you're interested in this world building project, please visit my site down in the description below and the article about this topic in the description as well. I hope you all enjoyed, and stay tuned for more world building project content from the world building project Lineaos, a symphony of 2 dimensions in 3-dimensional space. Have a nice day and stay safe and well. Bye!